Hey everyone, here is today's recording and move my head. And you see your riddle of the day. So take a look at it, see if you can figure out the word. It is a throwback to some of the things that we read and did last week, and also take every clue very literally. All right, so we were looking at today the techniques that an author uses to communicate effectively. And these deal with four particular terms of the central idea, the author's purpose, details, and evaluating. And so we kind of dove a little deeper into those terms themselves. The central idea, what you need to take away from here in this whole page is that it's the most important idea of the text, as you see right here. We do use the details. There are key details that point towards the central idea. So it kind of pounds that idea into your head. And with that, we're going to look at repeated words and phrases throughout a text. Those are the things that keep coming up over and over and over again. Like in our example literature about theme last week, the word love and details that depicted love kept repeating over and over and over and over again. It's kind of the same idea. And another student brought up that really these are like the context clues, like what we did. We looked at a lot of words and inside particular sentences last week. And here we're broadening out that skill to look at a paragraph or even a whole paper or a story. And we're looking at those context clues that give us the idea of what the theme, or I'm not theme, but the central idea is. So these details can appear as facts and statements and examples. They're going to clarify, illuminate, explain, describe, expand, and illustrate for us. So we totally get exactly what the central idea the author is trying to portray. So when we evaluate something, we're making judgments about it. We're looking at what we already know to be true, what we know based on our experience, our cultural values, and what we believe the purpose for reading this is. Are we reading it to entertain ourselves or to learn something, um, to hear another side of an argument or whatnot? So my little thinking person has got some really evaluative thoughts about season 3 of Stranger Things to see, why do the writers choose the things they chose and what are they going to do with that as they go into season 4. You can apply that to any book or TV series or movie of just how you make judgments about what was said and done in the piece that you watched or read. And that leads into author's purpose. You take those details, you take the central idea that you determine, and you discover what the author's purpose is. And that, they roughly broke it down in this lesson to inform, to persuade. And there's several other different kinds of authors' purposes, such as it could be to describe or recount an event for narrative writing. It could be, like I said, describe using imagery for descriptive writing. It could be to argue something with persuasive, or just to inform or teach with expository. And I think that's kind of stuff that's kind of review for you guys. You know that. All right, and then you can pause the video right here if you want and quiz yourself and see if you can figure out which definition goes with which term, and scroll back into or rewind and watch earlier if you need to figure out those definitions again. And then we did a little practice right here where we identified the details that were in this paragraph, and then from those details determined what the central idea was, took the central idea and the details that we discovered and determined what the author's purpose is. And you can work on that on your own if you want. Email me what you think those are, and I will be happy to have that discussion with you, and we can see how well you analyze this on your own. And then you get to practice these same skills inside your lesson. You're going to choose what you believe the central idea is for this little excerpt right here. And you're going to look at what the details are for that excerpt. Because, an excerpt that supports the central idea. That's detail. Again, that's looking at, for putting it into context of last week, the context clues to determine the meaning. So the details to determine the central idea. It's all connected. And then again, like we said, you put the two together to determine the author's purpose. What is it? To inform, to entertain? What are you trying to do there? And this was to illustrate, an essay, like you guys probably already know, it's nonfiction writing, and there's lots of different kinds. You could Google and look at a more definitive list that includes all kinds of types of essays. We're going to start with narrative, and that's what we're going to write. And then there's several ways to organize it. You could do it order of importance, meaning the tipping point is the most important, and you're going to work your way out into less important things. You could invert that triangle and have the less important things out at the beginning of the paper and end with the most important, or you most likely will use for your narrative writing essay that you're going to do this Friday or throughout the rest of the week is the chronology. You're going to start with a beginning, have a middle, and an end, kind of like not kind of like, exactly like how you do a plot cycle. You're going to follow a timeline. You're going to have a sequence of events. First you did this, then you did that, then you did that, and that, and that. So it's just going to move right along. And of course, there's others, cause and effect, problem and solution. And we'll get more into those as the year goes on. And then the basic breakdown of how an essay is constructed. You got the introductory paragraphs, the body paragraphs, the concluding paragraphs. I made this little chart to help you, and you can snip it, make a copy for yourself, and use it as kind of a checklist. Basically, the only one we're not including right now is C, the counter argument, because we're not doing an argumentative piece yet. But for anything else we write right now, you will have a hook and background information and your thesis statement. Thesis is highlighted because that's your gold. That is your most important thing because it guides the rest of your paper, and the topic sentence guides your paragraph. And then down at your conclusion, you got your rephrasing of your thesis statement so that guides the rest of your conclusion into your final thoughts. And your thesis, that is the heart of your essay. Now, something that we went over in class is thesis statement. Don't confuse it with a topic. If you look back at, let's see, let me scroll back to this. If you look back at this paragraph and you read through it, you could summarize the topic in one word, and that one word is names. Okay, briefly and quickly, the topic is names, but the thesis is something specific about the names, and how and that is where you're going to go into the central idea, thesis statement, all that kind of stuff, the bigger details. So its topic is not a thesis statement. I just want to go ahead and stress that from the very beginning. Okay. And then you're going to get to practice that again in your module, and you can do that on your own. Same thing right here, looking at the organizational structure here. And then basically we spent class working in our modules itself for August 19th, reading that final essay, the Grimm's Brothers essay, and working through those lessons, because the rest of the week is going to be spent preparing and working on the graded assignment, submit your personal narrative, and Writable due Friday. So make sure you're checking out your daily announcements. I have figured out how to link directly where you need to pick up with your lessons in our daily announcements. So check those out and you can take advantage of that. Your assignments are directly linked into the announcements as well. And by now, you should have the pretest completed and the Stories Around the World quiz in Elluminate. And that is a wrap. Have a great day.